Veolia, union busters out of the water department. Say no to privatization of the water department. Restore democracy to Detroit. Make the banks pay. All of these attacks on Detroit are designed only to line the pockets of the biggest bankers. They're getting paid. All the big crooked banks, they've destroyed Detroit with fraudulent mortgages that are paying $100 billion to the United States government, but nothing to Detroit. They trapped Detroit in high interest bond swaps, looted the city for hundreds of millions of dollars, and now they get 75 to 100% payment on the bankruptcy hearing, while retirees are being cut 30 to 50 or 60%. We're sick of the media lying and saying it's a 4.5% cut. It's 4.5% across the board. It's another 15% clawback of tens of thousands of dollars from retirees on interest they earned in their annuity savings. Then there's 18% cost of living cut over our lifetime. And add on to that for younger retirees, an end to medical coverage, which is another 10 or 15 or 20%. We're being cut 30 to 60% on our pensions. The banks are getting 100% in most cases. Then they want to go after the water department. To do that, they want to slash poor people off the rolls, violating their own internal rules, violating the International United Nations Charter, which guarantees water as a human right. They're closing rec centers. They've brought in a notorious union buster, Veolia Corporation, an international criminal corporation, Veolia. They're established inside the water department as a consultant. Consultant to do what? Privatize it, to grab it, to raise the rates. If it's our pensions today, it's your pensions tomorrow. This is all to line the bank's pockets.
All right. Woohoo!
Good morning. My name is William Davis. I'm a City of Detroit retiree. I did 34 years at the wastewater treatment plant. And this whole deal stinks. This deal stinks. Kevin Orr is no manager. He does not know what he's doing. Everybody in southeastern Michigan now, in the last couple of years, your streets, the freeways, they flood more frequently than they used to. Why? Because of mismanagement from Kevin Orr. He do not know what he was doing. I retired as a group supervisor at the wastewater treatment plant. The streets should not be flooding like they are. That's because of mismanagement, not properly taking care of the pumps at the wastewater treatment plant, not properly taking care of the pumps in the overall system throughout southeastern Michigan through system control. If this system was properly managed, all these streets wouldn't be flooding like that. It takes us a little bit of rain now for the streets to flood. Also, you're talking about 4.5% pay, cut out of our pensions. That's crazy. I've already had my health care taken. The governor made me go to Obamacare. I didn't want to be on Obamacare. My sons didn't want to be on Obamacare, but the governor put thousands of people on Obamacare. What kind of Republican is that? He's put thousands of people on Obamacare. Why?
Walmart Republican.
The crook Republican. Only thing our governor cares about is people as billionaires and millionaires. Like I said, the water department, they're cutting off poor people's water, yet, who's the biggest deadbeat who owes the water department the most money? The state of Michigan. Why don't you ask the governor to pay up? The state of Michigan owes the city of Detroit millions of dollars. The emergency manager for the school owes the city of Detroit millions of dollars for water and sewage bills. But you see them doing anything with them? No, they're not. Because they are in the same little clique. That's right. We need to be investigating. This is like they need a RICO investigation. This is a criminal conspiracy. People should be going to jail. the governor, Kevin Orr, and the mayor. They're all three crooks from U of M.
Yes!
You know, that's where they learn to be good crooks.
Yep, you're in law school.
Have a good day.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Bill Davis. Come on up, sister. Who are you?
Yeah, my name is Vera McGee, and I am a retiree from the city of Detroit. And I want us to make sure that we place the blame where it's supposed to be, and that's Rick Snyder. Rick Snyder has to go. Everything that's happened is Rick Snyder's fault. These people are just mouthpieces for Rick Snyder. Rick Snyder must go. We got to vote for Shower. Thank you.
My name is Jean Vorkamp. I'm the daughter of pensioners, and I was also a candidate for mayor in the fraudulent 2013 election. I think that if you look at the disclosure plan, you will see that it's very similar to the Mackinac Policy Center plans for Detroit, as long as also with the Manhattan Institute. If you look at what's going on with the pensions, that has a lot to do with the Manhattan Institute. This is a right-wing takeover of Detroit. This has nothing to do with adjusting debts. I think that it needs to stop now. You don't use federal court to accomplish your political agenda.
Well, I don't know how good this morning is for the rest of us, but I concur with a lot of people that got up here. We got to concentrate on Hitler that is in Lansing. He's calling the shots. We need to get, there needs to be tens of thousands of people out here, because right now Detroit is the laboratory for the rest of Michigan and the rest of the country. So, you know, let's keep organizing, let's stay in the trenches, because we don't have no future as long as these people who represent the interests of the corporations are leading the state. Not only the state, they don't care about us, and then they put their lackeys in office, like the mayor here, or the mayor in Highland Park, who's now moving to take the pensions and as well as the insurance for the people there. You know, they better understand, if they don't take a stand today, they will not have a future. So let's keep on organizing and sticking together and bringing more people into this fight. Thank you.
Who you are?
I'm the daughter of Dave. Oh, I'm sorry, Dave. I'm Marion Kramer from Michigan Welfare Rights.
Introduce yourself.
My name is Dawn DeRose, and I'm a resident, and I'm really sick of hearing on every newscast that Detroit filed for bankruptcy. I did not, and most of the people in Detroit did not. A lot of people don't even know what's going on. Kevin Orr and Jones Day do not represent Detroit. They're just supposedly representing Detroit, but they actually have the conflict of interest, like it was mentioned earlier. They represent the banks. So how in the world can you represent both sides in an issue in court? Secondly, we have not had our right to appeal for PA 436. It is in appeal now, but the people doing the appeal had to give up their right to stop this bankruptcy. So even if it's found to be unconstitutional, which it is, then we can't stop this bankruptcy, because it's all in the policies and the procedures that are set in place by the people in power. Kevin Orr, Governor Snyder, and all of his people that buy off the legislators. Basically, I was going back up to like Belle Isle issue, there was Council member Joanne Watson had fought to institute the master plan and have the city collect those funds to fix up Belle Isle, and that didn't happen. Mayor Bing turned it over to, he took the lease off the table, or the governor took the lease off the table when the city council refused, and then after the governor put in Kevin Orr, then all of a sudden the lease is back on the table, a 30-year lease. The new council said, oh, we'll put a 10-year lease in, but of course the governor got to choose between the two, because his appointed commission got to choose, so they picked what was best for the state, not what was best for the city. We got no jobs, no revenue for the rest of our lives. So it's taking over the waterfront, taking over the water department, just like what they're trying to do all across the country. Even out west, I heard on the news last week that there's a lawsuit against a wealthy person taking over the beach, a public beach, because he bought up property. So it's not just here in Detroit, it's here, or in Michigan, it's happening across the country. We need to stop the corporate takeover and privatization of everything we own. And we'll be at the mercy of the corporations for jobs. You know, people create jobs by having money to spend. So we don't need to have the corporations say, please, Mr. Corporation, Mr. Person, you know, since corporations are people now. We don't need to wait for them to create jobs. We can create jobs if we stand together and demand better pay. This new minimum wage is a joke. They subverted the people's vote again with that law that went into effect yesterday that raised the minimum wage. We had a law, a proposal to raise the minimum wage $10.10, not $9.25 over 4 years, which is going to bring it right back to where it is today, at below the cost of living. So there's all these things that are happening that is subverting the people's vote, and we need to get people to understand it's not just the people who don't know what they're doing in Detroit. It's happening, like they said here this morning. If it happens here, it's just a test case to go across the country. So we need people to stand up and realize that it's all about the money, it's not about the people. This bankruptcy is benefiting Snyder's friends and family. It is not benefiting the citizens of Detroit, because we are losing. Coming up this week and afterward, City Council is on the verge of turning over 40,000 parcels of land to the land bank, public parking, city parking to a private company, Lipke Park, a 15-acre park that is supposed to be for the people. They're going to turn it over to the Salvation Army for profit, not to benefit this money coming into the city, but for a private company to put something that's unknown there, possibly a water park that you'd have to pay to use rather than a public facility for the community, for the young people to have something to do and stay out of crime. So this privatization of all these recreation departments and land is just a massive turnover of city property to private entities, and we need to understand that and need to stick together and work together to stop it, not just let it happen. There's a public meeting this Thursday about Lipke Park. It's 5 o'clock at the City County building, Coleman A. Young Municipal Building, and I hope everybody comes out and protest the turning over of more property and taking it away from the community. Stop this, please.